The general dynamics of multi-mission, the Convair Model 48 Charger was a light attack and observation aircraft prototype designed and developed for the Vietnam War as one of the country's first counterinsurgency aircraft. The project was carried out in complete secrecy. In March 1964, 30 engineers and production workers at San Diego's Convair facilities began working in a remote area. That figure would eventually rise by 200. Convair announced the top-secret project as a light-armed reconnaissance aircraft, or LARA, to be used by the Marines, Army, and Air Force when it was finally revealed. Convair anticipated military needs early on, but competition from the North American Rockwell OV-10 Bronco became a never-ending race to the skies. Reuben H. Fleet founded the Consolidated Aircraft Corporation, later known as Convair, in 1923. The prolific company became one of the most significant aircraft manufacturers in U.S. history, and its identity was inextricably linked to the city of San Diego for nearly 60 years. Convair produced a number of infamous aircraft models, including the P. Catalina, B-24 Liberator, and F-102 Delta Dagger. It was also responsible for the Atlas missile. Two Marine Corps developed the concept for what became known as a light marine attack aircraft in 1959. The plan was to create a small, low-cost aircraft capable of providing close air support and operating from roads close to battlefields. The Convair division of General Dynamics began investigating counterinsurgency aircraft, or COIN, in 1961. Eventually, a 1:6 scale model was developed and tested in the Convair wind tunnel over 900 separate test runs. A 1:7 scale model was also used to test an amphibious configuration. The hydrodynamic properties of the float system were determined during towing basin test runs at high and low speeds, in rough and calm waters. All of these requirements were consolidated in the fourth quarter of 1963 into a tri-service request for a light-armed reconnaissance and counterinsurgency forward air control aircraft to be used by all military branches. The twin-engine aircraft would need to carry at least 2,400 pounds of cargo, 6 paratroopers or stretchers, and basic aerobatic abilities, as well as be able to operate from an aircraft carrier, fly at least 350 miles per hour, take off at 800 feet, and perform amphibious operations. It had 4 7.62mm machine guns, a gun pod with a M100 and 97 electric cannon, and a 9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. As America's military involvement in Vietnam expanded in the early 1960s, they lacked suitable aircraft for jungle combat. Convair anticipated this need and began developing a model in secret. Even before the request for proposal was issued, the company had already designed a flight demonstration aircraft. As a response to the tri-service request, Convair formally proposed its Model 48 Charger in March 1964. At least 10 design proposals were received from major aircraft manufacturers. The prototype's development began in complete secrecy. The project was created in Building 69, a secure and guarded hangar. Employees would gain access using a magnetic card and would be thoroughly scanned by a security guard when entering or exiting. Convair began building the prototype as a private venture, and most employees had no idea what they were working on. Nonetheless, an entire team of engineers, draftsmen, and fabricators was assembled. By August 1964, the U.S. Navy had announced that the North American Rockwell OV-10 Bronco had won the LARA request. The Marines and the Air Force, on the other hand, openly preferred the Charger, and construction of the prototype continued. 6 months after Convair first proposed its Model 48 Charger, the completed prototype was rolled out with the slogan, "A bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush." In September 1964, even coins were printed with a marketing slogan. The prototype was built to production standards in order to ensure that no significant changes occurred during actual production. The Charger weighed 4,450 pounds and was lightweight and compact, making it suitable for use in narrow and confined spaces. It was an aluminum monocoque twin-boom monoplane with a fiberglass nose, rear fuselage, and wingtips. The retractable nose wheel undercarriage was built for a 20 foot per second rate and had a conventional tricycle configuration. The aircraft was powered by two 650-horsepower Pratt & Whitney Canada T-74 engines and two counter-rotating three-bladed propellers. A 27.5-foot wingspan rendered nearly the entire length of the wing behind the slipstream of the propellers. This arrangement improved the performance of the full-span trailing-edge slotted flaps and leading-edge slats. By deflecting the slipstream into the vectored thrust, takeoff and landing distances were significantly reduced. Under a sliding canopy, seats for a pilot and an observer were placed in tandem. Convair's main concerns were simplicity and performance. The rectangular wing and tail could easily be produced from a single stamping, reducing production costs and speed. The booms, including the vertical tail and rudder, as well as the fuel tanks and landing gear, were interchangeable on both sides, resulting in 48% part commonality, 4 times that of a conventional aircraft. All of these factors contributed to a low initial cost and improved field logistics. The flight controls were operated by hand. They had a large horizontal unique tail system, as well as vertical tails with rudders that worked directly from the flight controls. The lateral system, on the other hand, used a combination of circular spoilers and ailerons on the outboard span. The landing gear and flap systems, on the other hand, were hydraulically operated. For takeoff, the flaps were set to 10 degrees, while for landing, they were set to 90 degrees. The entire span of the flaps, as well as the inboard flap, provided the necessary high lift for short takeoff and landing fields. A hinged tail cone in the back functioned as a cargo bay, capable of carrying up to 2,000 pounds. Hardpoints under the wings and fuselage could carry another 2,000 pounds of external storage, such as bombs, rockets, and gun pods, and 4 7.62mm machine guns could be mounted in pods on the sides. The model also met the amphibious operational requirement and was capable of being outfitted with 2 massive floats. Built for maximum accessibility and ease of maintenance, one engine could be removed in 15 minutes by 2 men using a simple rope if a mechanical hoist wasn't available. The Charger was a powerful machine that was up to the task. Following its release, the Model 48 underwent extensive ground testing, including fuel gauge calibrations, stationary engine runs, and taxiing at various speeds. The engine response, as well as the nose wheel steering and brakes, were thoroughly examined. On November 25th, it made its maiden flight from Lindbergh Field to the North Island Naval Air Station. The aircraft was piloted by veteran test pilot Johnny Nevo, while the observer seat held instrumentation equipment that monitored flight performance and transmitted data to the ground station. The prototype was intended to take off with a 225-foot ground run. Several pilots from the Air Force, Army, and Navy, however, found the aircraft difficult to control. The prototype crashed and burned in Lindbergh Field on its 196th flight, October 19, 1965. The evaluator, a Navy test pilot, ejected at the last second and broke his foot when it became trapped beneath the instrument panel. Nonetheless, he survived, despite the fact that the crash was caused by a pilot error. North American Aviation was awarded a production contract to build the OV-10 Bronco. Convair desired a redesign, but the decision was made primarily for political reasons, and further development on the Model 48 was halted. Convair's Model 48 Charger would be the company's final complete aircraft. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Please like and subscribe to our Warplane Evolution channel for historical stories and documentaries. Don't forget to leave a comment about anything else that piques your interest. We'll be back soon with another riveting warplane documentary.